If you want to know the absolute best builds and easiest methods to destroy the latest Simon, you are in the right place. With more than 340 hours of in-game experience, I went back to the drawing board and further optimized 3 one-shot builds to break the Divergent Star. If you want to hit Simon with billions of damage like 2.8 billion, 3.6 billion, or even a whopping almost 5 billion damage in the easiest way possible, this video is for you. But for us to understand how all of the builds inner workings, we need to understand how the Sireso is powering up all of the builds on this list. This is one of the biggest changes compared to my previous video. I heavily featured this weapon on this channel even before the DLC hits because of its great usage. But there are a lot of caveats to this, so stay tuned for this one. The way this works is when Verso reaches S rank perfection, he will receive 200% damage bonus to himself, and the Sireso will take half of the said bonus damage multiplier, which is 100%, and apply it to his allies. If you are a seasoned player, you already know that Sireso's added damage buff does not stack with the powerful buff. So make sure that whoever is your damage dealer, he or she will not have any kind of powerful inducing lumina, or else you will be wasting your slots. The Sireso's damage multiplier is working properly on Sciel, Lune, but not Sciel for some reason. And you can see on the screen right now that clearly that there are no changes visible on Sciel's damage when it comes to normal attacks and skills. This is better be discussed on a different video, but somehow there's something with Sciel interfering with the Sireso's buff. Keep in mind that Sciel doesn't have any powerful buff with her as mentioned, and this can be an isolated bug on my end. And if you are looking for a detailed explanation of Sireso Mechanics, I suggest watching my previous Simon video where I detailed all of the things that you need to know, since I will be skipping the Simon mechanics on this one, so the video is linked in the description or find it by clicking the card here. Starting the list strong with a perfected Lightning Lune build, where Lune of course is the main damager of the party, allowing her to deal a whopping 2.8 billion damage or more with the Lightning Dance skill finisher. Simon has 2 phases for us to deal with, so in this setup, Sciel and Monoko are going to be our main party members of phase 1. Monoko's role is the main gradient charger during this phase, and the Bagitaro's weapon burn stacks will heavily buff Sciel's damage later on. Sciel is going to be our one-shot killer during this phase, equipped with all of the damage multipliers without any shield picto, because if you can remember, Simon will immediately steal shields in phase 1, which can ruin our one-shot methods. Phase 2 guys will be Verso, Sciel, and Lune. Verso is going to be our main gradient charger in this setup, and his only role is to fill the gradient gauge to level 3 as fast as possible, while also buffing Lune or any damage dealer with more damage multipliers with the mentioned Sireso weapon. Mandatory turn manipulator Sciel is still heavily used as the main buffer of the team, and she is also a secondary gradient charger in this setup, while Verso is the main one. Lune on the other hand of course has all of the damage multipliers in the world, including shield stacks to reach maximum damage. And yes indeed, shield stacks are allowed in phase 2, so your damage dealers will reach their highest potential. And if you need more Lumina to have access in all of the builds on this list, I've covered the best additional Lumina farming spots, which you can find in the description or find the video by clicking the card here. Start the actual run by parrying Simon's initial attacks, which is a regular one in this case, meaning there are no double swords summoned. This is a 10-hit party-wide attack that has a major delay during its 8th and 9th hits that can bait you and kill you, which again I discussed in my previous video, so I suggest checking that out if you are having a hard time parrying these attacks. After Simon's attacks, Sciel goes first, and she will cast Last Chance in both of her turns to get access to Virtuous Stance and get more damage multipliers from warming up Picto. Monoko will have 3 turns in total because of his immense speed and cheater Picto combined, so he will charge the gradient gauge to level 3 with free aim shots and normal attacks during his first turn. Then he will repeat the same strategy in his second turn and will then leave a mark status on Simon to help Sciel's damage skyrocket later on. Sciel will go again and will consume the gradient gauge and cast the Burning Canvas. ending Simon's phase 1 with 333 million damage, which is enough to one-shot this guy, and this is without roulette, shields, and Fortune's Fury. Phase 2 will commence and Lune with shortcut will go first. The shortcut Lumina or Picto plays a heavy role in this setup, so again, I suggest watching my previous Simon video explaining how it works. During Lune's first turn, let her cast Elemental Trick to produce 4 stains in total, and then she will do normal attack on her second turn so we can convert her stains to darkness for more damage multipliers. In this instance, Sciel will go second and will do a few free aim shots to charge the gradient gauge. Then end her first turn by casting Fortune's Fury on Lune. She will then hit Simon with another batch of free aim shots to charge the gradient gauge and end her second turn with a normal attack to refresh the slow debuff and inflict Simon with defense down. Verso will take his turn and he will only do free aim shots and normal attacks to fill the gradient gauge near level 3 or max it out in both of his turns. During this process, he can easily max out his perfection to S rank, giving Lune with 100% damage multipliers because of the Sireso weapon. Sciel will go again and will inflict a mark status on Simon via free aim shots. After applying the mark status, end her first turn by using a healing tint on Lune to add 2 shields. Her second turn will be spent using another healing tint on Lune, maxing her shield stacks to 9 in total. Lune finally takes her turn and consumes the gradient gauge, casting a fully buffed lightning dance to permanently end the fight. But what if Verso comes first because of the randomized turn order mechanic of phase 2? Lune will still cast Elemental Trick during her first turn and end her second turn with a normal attack. As mentioned, Verso will take the second turn for this instance. Nothing changes in this strategy, he will just dump all of his AP via free aim shots and do normal attacks in both of his turns. In this instance, Sciel will have 3 turns in total. She will cast Fortune's Fury on Lune during her first turn, and she will use her second turn to either max the gradient gauge to level 3 if needed, and will use a healing tint on Lune once again. Sciel's third and last turn will be spent on either applying a mark status on Simon if needed, or end it by using another healing tint on Lune. And then Lune will end the fight with Lightning Dance. In the final damage calculation results, this setup scored a total of 3.2 billion damage, meaning Lune dealt around somewhere 2.8 billion damage, while Mayel dealt 333 million damage in phase 1. And keep in mind that Lune's 2.8 billion damage failed to take advantage of the stayed mark Picto. So you will be scoring way more than 3.2 billion plus if the roulette and stayed mark Picto both take in effect in full. And if you are getting value so far, subscribe to the channel. This guide took a lot of effort and days of planning to make, so liking the video and engaging in the comments helps me more than you can imagine. But what if you want to deal even more damage? I hear you asking, my dear viewer. The Destroyer Mayel setup is no longer the strongest builds of them all, but with this perfected setup, you can still deal a mind-blowing 3.2 billion damage with the mark status being fully utilized. Monaco and Lune will be our main guys in phase 1, as Monaco being the gradient charger as usual, and Lune will serve as the main damage dealer of phase 1. Monaco is equipped with the free aim AP generation setup along with your usual gradient charge Luminas, while Lune is equipped with all of the damage multipliers without any shield stacking Lumina, since if you can remember, we are not allowed to use shields in phase 1. Phase 2 guys will be Sciel, Verso, and Mayel. Sciel is the secondary gradient charger like in the previous setup and the main buffer and turn manipulator of the party. Verso's Corpeso will now do wonders in this setup since he can easily pile burn stacks, so Mayel Burning Canvas can hit an absolute freight train later on, while also charging the gradient gauge to level 3. He is equipped with free aim AP generation setup to sustain his role. And of course, Mayel is finishing the fight equipped with the Escium to deal the most years damage possible and all the damage multipliers in the world, and shield adding Pictos. Make sure to follow and copy the exact setup that I have here to avoid headaches in following the actual methods later on, so you can replicate my results without a hassle. Start your actual method by engaging Simon and doing the mandatory parries for his initial set of attacks. Like the first method, Lune will go first and cast Elemental Trick to have 4 stains in total, and will end her second turn with normal attack for the darkness stain conversion. Monoko will use the first and second turns to charge the gradient gauge to level 3 with free aim shots and normal attack like usual. Make sure to inflict Simon with mark status during Monoko's third turn and skip to Lune. Lune will then consume the gradient gauge and cast a lightning dance to end phase 1 with a bang, leaving Simon almost lifeless. Phase 2 will commence and Mayel, equipped with Shortcut, will be forced to take the first turn and will cast Last Chance to access Virtuous Stance. She will cast Last Chance again during her second turn to retain the stance. In this instance, Verso was randomized to take the second turn, and he will use both of his turns to unload free aim shots and end the turns with normal attacks to pile up insane burn stacks, while charging the gradient gauge in the process. Keep in mind that you only need 100 burn stacks to maximize the burning canvas damage later on. Sciel will have 3 turns because of the cheater and immense speed combined, so you can do more free aim shots to max out the gradient gauge if needed and cast Fortune's Fury on Mayel to double her damage later on. In Sciel's second turn, make sure to manage your shots and inflict mark status on Simon, and end the turn with another cast of Healing Tent on Mayel to add shields on her and gain more damage multipliers. While her third turn will be used on casting another Healing Tint on Mayel, giving her 2 more shield stacks in the process. And finally, Mayel will consume the level 3 gradient gauge and will cast Burning Canvas with 9 shield stacks active, Fortune's Fury, and full damage multiplier. In this recording, I failed to proc the roulette's 200% damage bonus, but I managed to take advantage of the full mark stains. But what if Sciel comes second instead of Verso in phase 2? She will do a few free aim shots to charge the gradient gauge and will cast Fortune's Fury on Mayel during her first turn. Dump all of her AP on free aim shots on her second turn, then end it with a normal attack to refresh slow and apply defense down debuff. Verso will take his turn and he will unload all of his AP via free aim shots and piles burn stacks while charging the gradient gauge in the process in both of his turns. Sciel will go again for the last time and she will apply a mark status on Simon and will use both of her turns on using Healing Tint on Mayel to let her gain a total of 4 shield stacks. Then Mayel will end the fight for good by casting Burning Canvas. If you are wondering what's the most serious damage possible for this setup, with the same build and strategy, you can cause a whopping 3.2 billion damage if the mark stains and roulette were fully utilized. But what if you don't want to deal with the stay mark RNG mechanic, I hear you asking, my dear viewer? You can follow my Gumaj setup build on the screen right now, which basically doesn't have any frenzy, Feint, and Gradient Overcharge Picto or Lumina, which is of course exclusively geared for the Gumaj skill. With the same setup and method, you will fully utilize the mark status since Gumaj is a single hit skill, and if roulette kicks in, you are expecting 1.9 billion damage. So let's say you don't like using the roulette. Even without it, you will be still one-shotting Simon without a hassle. I firmly believe and hands down that Sciel is the strongest character in the latest patch, giving you the ability to deal an out-of-this-world damage of almost 5 billion damage in this specific setup. And let me tell you that it's not her highest potential yet. This monster setup is only made possible because of Sciel's latest weapon, the Dualism. This weapon's first passive increases each of her succeeding normal attacks by 100%, which is a crazy amount of damage multipliers. Keep in mind that we can deal as many as 4 hits of attacks with all of the combo attack Lumina equipped, while the second passive is yet another crazy thing to wrap our heads around, as this weapon allows you to gain 1 Fortel on each free aim shot you deal on enemy. And base attack will consume all Fortel to deal 50% more damage per Fortel stacks. Again, let me be clear on that one, that's per Fortel stacks. And if you can remember, Sciel can have as many as 20 Fortel stacks on an enemy during the Twilight state. Meaning if you consume 20 stacks of Fortel, that's an insane additional 1000 damage bonus applied to your base attack. The Dualism's third passive is during Twilight, any Fortel consumed is not removed. Meaning if you are fighting bosses with 100 times HP multipliers, you can take advantage of the additional 1000 damage bonus from the Fortel stacks alone in multiple runs, since you are not consuming it, as long as Twilight is active. So combining all of the out-of-this-world multipliers with the Sireso's additional damage bonus, which we talked about at the beginning of this guide, plus all of the relevant damage multipliers in the world, hitting 5 to 6 or even more is possible. Dualism is not the only key factor in making this build work, but the consuming attack Picto or Lumina is the second best thing that makes this build broken, and which is one of the latest Pictos in the DLC. This Picto will allow Sciel to consume 100 burn stacks when performing normal attacks, and each burn stacks gives Sciel 10% more damage. So listen to this carefully. So in each attack, Sciel will have 1000 additional damage from this Picto alone after consuming 100 burn stacks. Keep in mind that we are dealing 4 hits of base attacks in this setup, so if you have 400 burn stacks to consume, so that is an insane 4000 additional damage multipliers from the consuming attack Picto alone. But how can you reach 400 burn stacks easily, I hear you asking, my dear viewer. Monoko is the star of the show when it comes to burn stacking in the latest DLC because of his new weapon, Bagetaro. This weapon will allow Monoko to deal easy burn stacks on critical hits via free aim shots. So if you are equipped with a double burn Lumina, you will be stacking burns super fast. On the other hand, the second passives allow Almighty Mask to increase Monoko's damage by 50%. But in this setup, we don't want the damage. But instead, switching to the Almighty Mask will easily double the enemy's burn stacks, which the one we want. But of course, the next question will be, how can you access Almighty Mask like always? The Benishore Mortar is the key skill to our problems. Because if you use the skill on an enemy suffering from a mark status, it will force Monoko to access Almighty Mask, which is of course doubles the enemy's burn stacks in the process thanks to the Bagetaro's weapon effect. Now that the key mechanics are out of the way, moving on to the party build. Mayel and Lune will take on Simon's phase 1 this time, and our Lune is equipped with the Coralim to stack the burn stacks easily, along with free aim shots AP generation build and gradient charger luminas. Just like Monoko in the previous methods, she will be charging the gradient gauge to level 3, while Mayel is the main damage dealer of phase 1, equipped with all of the damage multipliers without any shield Pictos with her. Monoko, Verso, and of course Sciel will take Simon's phase 2. Verso is the main gradient charger in this setup, equipped with the Sireso to add more damage multipliers for Sciel, equipped with AP generation and gradient charger Lumina. And Monoko, our main guy, is doubling our burn stacks easily, equipped with the insane Bagetaro that we just talked about, along with AP generation and gradient charger luminas. And he and Verso will charge the gradient gauge simultaneously later on. And of course, the star of the show is Sciel, is equipped with the best weapon currently, the Dualism, along with all of the relevant damage multipliers in the world, and she will deliver the one shot to end Simon for good in this setup. To start your actual method, parry Simon as usual. I'll be skipping this phase since you already know this by now. Nothing changes in our strategy when it comes to phase 1, as Mayel will cast Last Chance twice in both of her turns. Just like Monoko in our previous builds, Lune will dump all of her AP on free aim shots, then end her first turn with a normal attack. Then she will repeat these steps in the second turn. She will have 3 turns in total because of the immense speed she has, and you need to apply a mark status on Simon and skip her third turn. Maya will then take her turn and consume the gradient gauge level 3 and cast Burning Canvas in the process, hitting Simon with 370 million damage. This is more than enough to take this guy down, just like in the other builds. Phase 2 will then commence, and Sciel will take the first turn because of our shortcut trick. And make sure to copy this strategy to the letter. Let her do a normal attack to produce a moon charge, then end her first turn. On Sciel's second turn, use free aim shots to produce 10 stacks of Foretell, and cast Fortune's Fury on herself. Before we continue, this series of Sciel's attack strategy was contributed by the username AnandDRDBZ, so we can have a total of 75% damage multiplier later on during the Twilight stage, once Sciel gets her turn once again and finishes the fight. Props to you, my guy. Continuing the method with Monoko after Sciel, Monoko will carefully manage his AP by dealing free aim shots and piling up burn stacks. Your goal here is to apply as many burn stacks as you can, and when you notice that Monoko is about to run out of AP, make sure that you can still apply a Mark Stain on Simon and can still cast the Mortar skill. so we can double the current burn stacks of the enemy, which is 54 burn stacks in this case, and will turn into 124 burn stacks after. And he will then repeat the same steps in his second turn, and I am showing you how I am doing it exactly, so you will know how carefully I am managing my AP when doing free aim shots. There's an RNG involved in this strategy, so you might get unlucky and your AP will not generate at all, which will mess with your runs. Finishing the turn with the mortal skill, which will double our burn stacks to 384. Verso on the other hand will just do free aim shots and reach S rank to apply 100% damage bonus on Sciel, and he will end his turn with a normal attack to apply slow and defenseless. End his second turn and use a healing tint on Sciel to give 2 additional shields. Sciel will finally take her turn at last and notice that she will enter Twilight State with 75% damage multiplier. Again, thanks to Anan DRDBC for the strategy. And she will do free aim shots and reach 20 stacks of Foretell while making sure that a mark status is also applied afterwards. Finally, with the Fortune's Fury, Brilliant Charge level 3 damage bonus, 7 shield stacks, and 400 burn stacks to fuel her base attack damage with the Dualism, cast a base attack and watch the world burn with a whopping 4 billion damage. If we take a look at the results screen, the final results are 4.4 billion damage and Mayel did 370 million damage during phase 1, while Sciel dealt a whopping 4 to 4.1 billion damage. But what if you're curious what is the most serious damage this setup can cause? My record is around 5 billion damage with all mark status being fully utilized, while the 200% damage bonus of the roulette takes effect on all 4 base attacks of Sciel. In case you are wondering, yes indeed, roulette can give you a bad or a good roll on each base attack performed, explaining the varying damage total in this test, which gives 3.5 billion on this one test, 3.8 billion on the other, and finally my highest so far, almost 5 billion in total. I am showing a quick infographic of how I reach 5 billion damage, so you will have an idea if you are going to try this for yourself. But what if you want to know the key mechanics of Simon? This video will teach you everything you need to know, so click on it and I will catch you on the next one.